I'm Maddie. This is Moses. We're from pixlmob, and we're here with James Bottomley from Haven Creatives in Calgary. And he's crushing it right now. He's building a creative agency for real estate media. Thanks for being with us, James. This has been kind of crazy getting this all together, but you hopped on and we're eager to go. Thanks for being here.
I'm super stoked. Thanks for having me on. And like I mentioned just before we started, this is my kind of first podcast experience. So I'm ready to rock
Maybe give us a little bit of introduction to what you're doing, maybe how you got started, and kind of like what that timeline's been like.
for sure. So I'm James, obviously. I'm 21 years old and I started my real estate video journey about 5 years ago. When I was 16, I was in high school and took a course that I was kind of like, it's a multimedia course. It was like photo, video, kind of all these digital mediums. And I just really enjoyed that in school. I didn't really feel like I was passionate about all that much. And I found this kind of photo video course and I was like, whoa, I really like this. So, I kind of dove into it, started off with photography and landscape photography, stuff like that, watching guys like Peter McKinnon. And eventually, I think I just came across a YouTube video. It was like how to shoot real estate videos. I think it's full-time filmmaker kind of thing like that. I was like, oh, this is super cool. And I watched that video. It's like, that actually looks like something I'd be interested in. That looks like something I could probably do. And so my kind of way into the industry was that my uncle designs luxury homes here in Calgary. And so I went up to him. I was super nervous because I was 16 years old, didn't know really anything. I was like, hey, I'm trying to learn this like real estate video thing. I saw it. You've designed some pretty cool homes here. Like, you don't got anybody doing video for you. So would you be willing to give me a shot? He said, yeah, sure. Like, let's do it. So I bought some gear kind of as cheap as I could get and started doing the video stuff. And man, after the first couple homes that I filmed, I was like, whoa, this is really cool. I really like this. And so really since then I've been growing the business. I was doing it very part-time because it's still in high school, but then once I graduated, that was my opportunity to just kind of go all in and dive in. So that's really been kind of the past 3 years is just kind of really going after it. And kind of I've always enjoyed being creative. And so that's kind of the approach that I try to bring into my work.
I've looked through some of your stuff, and I think you definitely bring a lot of creative energy to your real estate videos. And I think that's huge, like in the industry right now. I think particularly in the luxury markets, being able to make something really zing and be like very eye catching, like that's the game right now. So it seems like you've really pulled that off. You were started when you were 16, and at this point you've been pretty active on TikTok. You've got millions of views on some of these. What's that journey been like?
I mean, social media has just been one of those things that I just kind of got into because I didn't really know what else to do. So it was just a medium to show my work, kind of as a portfolio. And TikTok has been just kind of a platform where I don't take all that seriously, but it's been kind of funny that my highest performing videos have been over on that platform. Just these like crazy homes and these videos and but Instagram has really been the place that I've really kind of dived deep into and growing my brand and being personable about it, showing my face, showing up, chatting on the camera, as well as just kind of showing my work. And I feel like that's been really instrumental in actually growing my business as well in the local market where realtors are seeing me and my face, kind of every day or at least multiple times throughout the week. And it really kind of builds that solid brand presence more than what kind of anyone else in my market was doing or really even is doing still today. It was kind of that white space. I was like, man, nobody's really leveraging social media to build their own brand. It's just kind of a faceless portfolio thing. I was like, I want to build that to kind of have that platform to be kind of the person that everybody's seeing all the time.
You've had more success, or maybe you're zeroing in on Instagram for that brand presence, even though you've had some bigger like videos pop on TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok, I've had a couple of videos blow up, but it's done absolutely nothing for my business. I feel like Instagram, even though it's been a longer grind, and I feel like things are actually now finally starting to click, views wise. But even without the views, without all that stuff, Instagram was the higher leverage platform for my business, is what I noticed.
You say higher leverage, you mean just easier to interact with followers and business people and find the people to connect with, or what do you mean by that?
Sure, I feel like more realtors are on Instagram than they are on TikTok. And people who are on TikTok are usually just scrolling to waste some time or whatever. But even just the platform of being able to interact, view stories, comment, and send DMs and messaging, all that kind of stuff, I feel like it's a lot more intentional. I feel like TikTok is really just the focus on watching what the video. It was really just the content, and Instagram was much more kind of engagement focused, and that's where I was able to. I felt that people were more open to engaging on Instagram, answering messages, watching stories, that kind of stuff, and I felt like it was just a little bit more natural than trying to find people on TikTok.
It's interesting because you can do it for the show. Like you've had some really big TikToks, some of them millions of views, like 4 million views, and more property related videos. But like you said, it sounded like those aren't giving you the kind of return that you might expect, even though it's a ton of visibility. People are watching those because it's a cool house, and the which is valuable. That can still stir up some business, but it sounds like what you're really investing in is kind of like your social presence for realtors, brokers, the people that you are looking as your clientele, for them to get to know you and to trust your business, and even just like the touch point. Um, what is when that has been fruitful? What has that looked like?
I get messages when people are reaching out to me on Instagram, and a lot of it's like, in this 2025, even like 2024, where we saw this kind of more shift into agents wanting to build a brand and not just marketing for marketing's sake, but actually building a brand, being known. They started kind of reaching out to me or sending messages because I was doing the same thing. And they felt like if I could do the same thing for myself, then I could most likely deliver and do the same thing for them. And so it became less of just my skills and the cool property videos and more about actually like showcasing as I'm showing my personality, as I'm building my own brand. These agents, realtors, and as well as even builders are seeing that, this is something that is growing. This is something that they can actually see themselves in kind of almost my place in a sense where, if I can do it for me, then I could probably do it for them. And so that's kind of been the bigger thing is people will reach out to me and say, "Hey, we love your videos, but you know, what we really love is how you're so natural on camera." And that kind of authenticity draws people in to say, if he can be natural on camera, he could probably make me look natural on camera. And so that's kind of been the I don't know, I guess return that I've seen is that it's less about just the quality and more about what can I actually do for them in their business that other people just aren't, who are more focused on just the high quality product. And again, there's nothing wrong with focusing on having a really high quality product, but it's just kind of a different avenue that I've been taking with myself and with my clients and the people that I want to work with. I want to work with them to just to build their brand as well, to get a real return and help them grow their business.
A pretty cool proof point. Like if you're wanting to develop brand for people and you don't have your own, I would have a hard time hiring you for one of my companies. There's what's the old adage? Never trust a skinny chef.
Why would you hire a fat personal trainer, right? It's the same thing. Why would you hire someone to build your brand if they don't know how to do it themselves?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, pretty strong.
Let's back up for a second and maybe tell us a little bit about some of the details of your business, like where you cover, like where you actually operate, and maybe like the anatomy of your business. Do you work independently? Do you have people on your team? And like you've already mentioned, you started 2020. And yeah, just kind of tell us maybe about the evolution of your business and what it looks like today.
Yeah, so I operate in the Calgary area, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. That's kind of been, I mean, that's where I live. That's where I grew up. That's kind of where I've always just kind of put my focus into. And Calgary's a great city. It's a big city. It's got a decent luxury market too. It's no California, it's no Florida, it's no New York, but there's still, there's a lot of real estate. It's a big real estate market here. And so it's been pretty, I don't want to say easy, but it has been kind of easier to be able to. There's a lot of agents here, so there's a lot of work, which is great. And so right now, I am operating my business solo. It's just me. However, putting the plans in place to bring on an editor very, very soon here within the next month or two. Um, just because that's something that takes up a lot of time that I'm like, I need to get back, and I enjoy shooting more, and I want to be able to focus on shooting more and building my brand more. So that's kind of where I want to bring in someone as an editor. Not sure what that's gonna quite look like yet. If I'm gonna bring them on as kind of just a contractor, maybe I'll go overseas, or maybe someone even more local to North America, maybe Europe, to be part of the actual Haven Creatives brand. Not sure yet. That'll be part of the whole process that goes down. But yeah, I've done, I've kind of do a lot of the luxury stuff here in Calgary, as well as I've had the opportunity to travel into the States as well to film some really cool properties, more for kind of other people or as collaborations, and more portfolio pieces, not quite getting hired as by clients to go out there quite yet. But that is kind of the goal, to be create build the Haven Creatives brand, to be in that position where, we're consistently doing traveling around Canada, filming the nicest properties, Vancouver, Toronto, um, Calgary obviously is big, and Edmonton as well for luxury homes. So that's kind of the goal, is to go from expand a little bit from being just kind of local, to building a more kind of national brand almost.
So it sounds like you have ambitions to grow really like in a luxury video category. Um, in How are you thinking about what that looks like as a team, like the business side of this? Is this something you plan that you want to make it more and more exclusive as you get better, or do you think you saying you want a national footprint? And do you think, does that mean you're traveling, or does that mean you want to build up other videographers under the Havens creative name?
I just love the nice properties, and filming and getting inspired
No
from all
doubt.
that kind of stuff. But it would get to a point where that would be kind of unsustainable. So then eventually, once we've kind of had that brand, there's a few videographers and editors, got a small team kind of under me. Then that would be kind of probably finding kind of some hub cities or hub locations to kind of start building like a little branch. Maybe, maybe there's a branch we got a branch in BC, like Vancouver, and maybe a little one in Toronto, with a couple videographers and editors. So I think eventually kind of branching out like that. But for a while, I mean, to start, I really would like to have a more tight knit team. We are kind of the one stop people or shop. I don't like the one stop shop kind of term, but
Sure.
for like,
Nobody
yeah,
does.
exactly, for strategy, for execution, for all these things of like, you know, when people want to bring us on for a project, it's very, very curated, very tailored to them. And less of like oh yeah, we'll fly out, we'll make the video, here you go. It's like, yeah, let's get on a call, let's talk, what are the goals here, how are we going to build your brand, what do you need, how can we help with the team that we have to go ahead and execute that. So that's like, I really want to build, again, like I kind of said, it's more of a creative agency approach, where it's less of the volume or product for product's sake, but more of the building those brands, generating results, generating these long-term goals and relationships with these people. So that would be kind of having that closer, tight-knit team and brand, I think, is more of the direction I would like to go. But like I said, eventually that will probably become unsustainable, and then look at something like bringing up a few videographers in different kind of hubs across Canada.
Thinking about the brand side of your business currently, like you're already doing that with some agents in your area, or like what does that growth look like for you?
Yeah, I've been really, the past few months, been going really hard into brand. Like, what is brand? Everybody talks about, our videos, we're gonna build your brand, but a lot of people just don't actually know what that means. And so that's kind of the approach that we've been taking, is, so what's our brand? What do we want to be associated with? What do we want people to associate with us? And then how can we take that and apply that into our clients, our agents, a couple agents, couple builders here and there. But how can we create their brand to how can we get people to associate them with a certain thing so that when they post a video, it's not just a video and let's hope. It's a here's a strategic video that we've planned that we're trying to get a specific result from. And I feel like that's been the bigger part of, you know, except especially our brand too, is my brand is, what can I put out there that is going to get people to want to associate me with getting them the result that they're looking for.
Looked like you've been working on it for a few months. Like working with agents in our business, it's been hard to get them to think beyond the video they need for the property to sell the property. How have those conversations gone? Have you landed any great clients? What does it look like?
There's definitely like a little bit of pushback from some agents, where again it's the same thing, not being able to quite see past the short term goal. So it's really been a few very specific clients who are, they want to go all in. They see the value. They see that it's been working for other people, and so those conversations are, we're looking at, what do we want people to associate you with? If someone were to see your video, when you post a video, what do we want people to feel? Do we want them to kind of laugh? Do you want to be that kind of have that funnier brand, funnier personality? Do we want people to go, oh, this is my go-to guy for insights on the Calgary market? Is it, oh, this person's marketing is very creative. I would like to use this person in the future. And so it's finding these different avenues because every agent is different. They run their businesses differently and they have different goals for what they want to be known for or even the people that they want to serve. And so it takes a more open and yeah, more open mind for a lot of these agents. Some of them are, hey, we're just looking for really good video marketing tools, and I'm like, that's awesome. Like, let's do that. We're gonna do that for you. And if that's kind of the end of where you want to go with that, not looking to build a massive brand or anything like that, no worries, right? It's your business. We're here to support you in that and to still get you a good result that you're looking for. But yeah, when it comes to brand, it's a lot of people, they just don't quite see the vision. Because in real estate, they're like, I'm here to sell homes and you're here to help me do that with my marketing. And that's kind of, at simple terms, that's what we're doing as media providers. Um,
Totally.
but there is kind of that next level that some people are kind of looking for, and I want to be able to be that person to help them get there.
The ones that are the next level, that are really thinking about their brand, just granularly, what does that look like for you in your business? Is that like a monthly retainer? Are you providing like property videos plus? Talk to me. If I were an agent, what's the package you're selling me?
I'd ask you, like, what are your goals? Who are the people that you want to look for? What's the kind of brand association that you want to have? I've got one client. He wants to be the guy in this one kind of district of Calgary, this inner city kind of district of Calgary. So a lot of the content that we're creating, we're going into that community. We're highlighting the local shops. We're talking about a little bit about what's happening in the real estate market in there, but a lot of it's like, here is, if you were to be in this vicinity of Calgary, here's like everything that you want to know. Like, we want to be that person where it's like, oh, what about the schools? What about the parks, walkability, commute, all these kind of amenities, that kind of stuff. So that's the brand that we're building over there. And then I've got another client, his goal, he wants to be known as like the creative marketer. And so a lot of our projects, we're having these conversations of like pre-production meetings of, okay, how can we create something that's really unique that still highlights this home, but it's not just a regular property video. How can we create a video that's going to make, when people watch this, they're going to go, that was really clever, or, oh yes, of course, like relatable, or, make them want to see this person as, oh, if I want my property to stand out when I'm trying to sell, I want to hire this guy. And so, yeah, it starts off with the goal, the end goal. Who do you want to serve? What do you want to be known for?
Does that mean you're working, creating packages, or every video is kind of bespoke, or like how do you handle something? You talked about two kind of very different categories there, very brand focused. Do you work on a retainer, or do you have like every video is kind of like you quote it out? Even with like property videos, do you have like a standard price point that you work with?
Yeah, so for the agent that we're doing a lot of the local market stuff, that's a more retainer base because then we can set a shoot date, we can go out, crank out however many videos, and then kind of have those for the next kind of month or few weeks. But when it comes to the property video side of things, for the one agent that we're doing a lot of the more creative storytelling marketing, those are more kind of per project, more bespoke because we're looking at there's more moving pieces. So those two are kind of on opposite sides. And then for just kind of the general property videos, whether it's MLS or real short form stuff, we have packages that agents can come in and look at. Because, the more I found that having a package of like, here's the video, here's everything you're going to get is a lot simpler for people to make a decision. And it's a lot easier for me to quote versus like, here's based off square footage, here's all the add-ons, here's this and that. I found that like, yeah, I can just throw a price out, know it's going to be pretty accurate to them and they can make a decision. That makes it easier for me without having to go through all this back and forth. Oh, what about this? Oh, actually the property is this size with the basement. And oh, can we do drone? Can I get on camera? It's like, oh man, here's everything, here you go, and here are the deliverables. And that's made it a lot easier for me and then for also agents coming to look at, if we were to work with you, what would that look like? It's just a more simple process.
Production menu items, and then you got kind of custom video, and then you got like a retainer where you're working on brand recognition that was like a niched down, you're going to own this real estate space. Any other thoughts you have on like how you price this stuff out or grow these pieces of your business?
The last time I checked, our my prices are, I think, the highest in Calgary, if not up there, with the highest. And so I think that also just comes with quality and the value that I'm providing. Right, that looks like we're getting people on camera and I'm coaching them. I'm coming up with the scripts. I'm coming up with all these, and it's just more value that adds on to kind of creating that price to value discrepancy. It's like, how can I have an offer and a price that would make people feel stupid saying no when they look at like, here's everything that we're going to do for you, and then here's the investment. Maybe it is higher than everybody else, but versus everything else that I'm offering, is it a no brainer? Sometimes it's a yes, sometimes it's a no, but that's what we're trying to get to is kind of have that higher value versus higher kind of just deliverables. And we're gonna have this, and this video is gonna do this, and this video is gonna do that. And it's like, here's just like everything where you can just show up to the property, everything is handled, you don't have to stress about anything, and people will kind of pay for that convenience.
It's impressive, particularly, I mean, you probably hear this a lot, but particularly for a 21-year-old, I don't see a lot of people pricing for value like that. Where'd you learn that? Like, what influenced you in that direction?
So when I started, I was definitely by the traditional kind of square footage and add-on kind of model, and then I actually went through. I think it was, I want to say 2023. I went through Daniel Bertolo's course, the property videographer, and that's kind of where the mindset shifted to having different packages, more kind of property campaigns. Tried that out for a while, and it worked for a little bit. And I was like, all right, there's got to be a better way to do this in my market. And so that's where it kind of became. I also read Alex Hormozzi's $100 million offers, and that really got me thinking. Yeah, gotta, that's like that was a big shift of like, all right, I actually need to learn how to run a business. Like, I love the creative side, and I feel like that's where a lot of people get into it for, is the creative and making the videos. But I was like, I need to learn how to run a business. I need to learn how to get people to actually work with me, how to sell, how to create value, and not just make cool videos because cool videos only get you so far. And that I learned that, firsthand. And so I was like, all right, I have really good videos, but I'm just not getting the business that I want. Something needs to change. And so that's where I started going more into the business development, Alex Hormozzi's books, other personal kind of development and business books as well. But that's, it's always been I'm young, I'm ambitious. I've always wanted that to be the person who's doing things differently. And so that was also part of the motivation. I was like, how can I do this differently? How can I be something that someone else or nobody else is offering, and do that in a way that's like people want to work with me. Um, and so that's kind of been, it's always, in business, there's always lots of moving parts. Things are always moving all the time. But that's kind of been recently what I've found to be working best is, especially with my approach of being more hands-on than most people kind of want to be in that process, is having the value pricing and making sure that people know or feel like they're being taken care of all the way through.
All right. So going way back, you had a couple hits on TikTok that were like great property videos, 4 million views. And then it was pretty interesting to me a few minutes ago. You just kind of threw that away. Like I didn't get any business from those. I think that's often the case with that kind of virality, but take those and then think about the content you created that was the most successful for your business. So it sounded like it was on the Instagram platform. What did those videos look like that actually garnered the engagement that converted into sales and great clients for you?
It wasn't really a specific video or a specific type of video. I think it's the culmination of the different types of videos that I've been posting on the platform that has contributed to building a more universal brand. So, for example, the property videos that I post on my Instagram, those are like the portfolio pieces. Those are when agents or someone, kind of an ideal client, would come to my page. They can look at that and get a decent idea of maybe what they would get. And then there's the personal branding side of the videos where I'm on camera talking, and that kind of brings in the part of this person. James actually knows how to build a brand. James is comfortable on camera. He has the ideas to be able to coach. From, if I were a realtor, I would see these videos and I go, oh, he gets it. He can be natural on camera. He talks about how other agents and other people can be confident on camera or build a brand. That's something that I'm actively kind of looking for. And then there's the more creative pieces that are just kind of a little bit more for the engagement, a little bit more for the broader reach. And recently I've had couple videos on Instagram start to pop off and go viral to build that following. But I just like to think that it's a few of these different pieces that are all kind of working together that are going to build a stronger reasoning for people to want to work, versus just one specific video that was like, yes, I worked with James because of that video. And sometimes that's the case. Sometimes people will reach out, hey, I saw this video on Instagram, and that's great. But a lot of times it's people who have been, oh, I've been watching your stuff for a while. I've been watching your stuff for a few months or following you for a year or whatever. And that's typically when people say, or when people come to me from Instagram, that's more of the directions like, hey, I've been seeing your stuff for a while. Your stuff's been popping up in my feed for a while. And so it's more of that different types of content to continue to be top of mind.
You're kind of saying the reality that nobody wants you to say. They want you to say that there's this particular formula that's just going to be the thing and you just get this inbound traffic. But I mean, it sounds right on. It scratches the sniff test of, yeah, it's the composite brand that is creating the relationships.
Yeah, I mean, I would throw in, like it's easy to look at the headlines. Like, James, you're 21 years old. You've got a successful media company. You're doing a ton of luxury shoots, high profile stuff. You've got these viral videos that are going off. And it's easy to look at that and say, oh man, this guy's young and just,
He just knows social media. That's why he's successful.
yeah, but he's made it happen in such a short amount of time. But the reality is you started when you were 16 years old. You've put in the work and you've built your brand over, you know, over that time by really putting yourself out there, getting people to see you, and you've built your brand around you and a personality, and people feel like they know you when they show up and they're ready to work with you. And that takes a lot of work. Like this stuff, it's easy to make the assumptions that like, oh yeah, I showed up with my camera and then it just, blew up overnight. Really, thought through the marketing approach, the the branding, you think about your customers' needs, specifically, and you've got kind of a trajectory. You've got a vision for where you want to go in our building, which is really awesome. I'm kind of curious, like when you started this, you were 16 years old, and most people, your peers, they're stumbling through high school. What was kind of that spark that was like, oh, I want to start a business? And specifically, I mean, you told us kind of the origin story, but what made you stick with it and keep going?
I didn't like school. I really didn't. I was
Most entrepreneurs don't.
Yeah, you know, I wasn't a terrible student. I was decently smart, I like to think. But it was just I didn't like school. I didn't like I felt like the things that I was learning, I just wasn't passionate about. Um, and I felt that throughout kind of high school is like or before coming into high school when I was even younger, it was like I just didn't I was struggling to find things I was passionate about. And so then I came across like this video photo using a camera. I was like, whoa, I really like this. This is it became kind of a creative just outlet for me to explore. And my dad's side of the family, they're all so my I've got my dad and then he's got three brothers and they're all entrepreneurs. And so it runs in the family a little bit. Um, and so that's kind of what sparked like maybe I could actually do this. Maybe I could actually build a business and work for myself. And when I was 16, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know what building a business even was. Um, but as I kind of went through that 16, 17, 18, I just kind of realized that that was what I was passionate about. And a lot of people say don't start a business around things that you're passionate about, but I was like I didn't really have any other option. I was like I don't want to go to university. I don't want to go to college. I don't want to work a normal job. Like that is not me. So I was like I kind of just have to make this work. And in high school, it's there's that safety net of like I'm just still in school. I'm just a kid, I got some time and options and whatever. And then I graduated. I was like, I have no other option. Like I'm not going to school because I can't see myself there. And I don't want to work a job. And so I was like, all right, I'm just going to make this work. And during those times, kind of grade 11, grade 12, my peers were, you know, they didn't quite understand, or, they thought it was a lot less significant than it really was, to me at least. Um, but yeah, there was just this spark of like, I found something that I enjoyed and I wanted to stay on that train for as long as possible. And so now 5 years later, I still absolutely love what I do. It's harder than it was, I will admit, but I love it what I do. And so there was no plan B for me. I was like, it's all or nothing. And so that's what also sparked the social media journey of like this. I have to make this work, so I'm just gonna do whatever I can.
To make that leap of faith at some point, and like, am I going to do this or not? When was there a moment in time when you knew like this is a business now? This isn't just like a side hustle that I can make a few bucks here and there, but like you really knew. And it sounded like you kind of had this moment when you had some decisions around school. Am I going to go to school like my friends and peers are, or I'm going to go all in? What did that look like for you?
I mean, it was a little scary, I will admit. Everyone, my peers, my friends, they had a plan. They're like, yeah, I'll work for the summer, or we're going on vacation. Then I start school in the fall. They had this um, it was almost like a sure thing, a little bit of a guarantee. And I was like, I don't have that. There is no guarantee here. And so, I worked, graduated 2022. So I just like was trying everything to make some money, keep the business afloat, keep myself just in, continue to keep myself in the business. But I would say it was probably like 2023. I kind of flopped my way through the rest of 2022, and then 2023 I started to get a little bit of traction. Little bit of traction. I was like, "Oh, this is cool. People are actually like now reaching out to me and not me sending as however many DMs I was sending a day. Um, but it was more 2023 where I was like, okay, I can't just fake my way through this. I need to have a plan. I need to have goals. I need to have a vision. I need to, have an offer that people will actually want to pay me for. And so yeah, that was 2023. I think that was more of the decision where I was like, I need to build this into something. And I remember even like summer of 2023, I got the opportunity to work with a company, and we went down to Nashville and Florida to film some really cool houses. And I remember after that, I was like, this could be something that I built. Like, this could be something for me. And so then it was, I would say probably the summer, I want to say end of July of 2023. I was like, okay, it's all or nothing. We're gonna build this. We're gonna work really hard. It's not just the videos, all these things that just kind of come with taking that step into business. That was the decision. I was like, I have to make this work. I'm getting older. Again, I was like 19. I'm not getting older, but
So old.
yeah, so super old. I was like, man, I'm gonna be turn 20. That's crazy.
Got 60 years ahead of me.
But I was like, man, I gotta make this work. And so it's always just been fueled by this passion and kind of relentless pursuit of just kind of growth and chasing goals and what I'm passionate about.
Nice. You said a while ago you shouldn't start a business in what you're passionate about, but I've heard a lot more adages and business professionals say the opposite. Like dive in and go deep what you're passionate about. And I think there's even a grandma one of how does it go? Like do what you
A grandma
do.
one?
Yeah, it's like something our parents would say, like uh, do what you're passionate about and you'll never work a day in your life or whatever. Like you'll enjoy what you're doing. And that, I mean, as an entrepreneur, some days you don't, you're tired. You've been grinding it out. Sometimes that's the only thing that keeps you going is the pieces of it that you love. So I love that.
Yeah, there's a lot of up and downs that I was just not expecting. There are the days where I'm like, man, what am I doing? Like, how am I gonna make this work? And it is those pieces of like just remembering, like, I get to do what I love. Like, I get to use a camera and make money. Like, that's the dream right there. Um, and that's for me. That's what's helped me get through those like tough times where I'm like, where things are slow, where things aren't working out. I'm like feeling a little bit lost. It's kind of going leaning back on that passion that I have is what kind of pulls me through.
I'm curious. Um, you found a passion as an entrepreneur now, not just as a videographer. What challenges kind of get you going now? Is it what, like, I guess you have a creative challenge at times and you have business challenges. What are you more drawn for towards? Um, are those business challenges worse or better when you think about kind of the creative challenges that you face on a daily basis?
I think that I've started to try to reframe challenges and the way I see adversity to be, when I see a challenge, it's okay, what can I do to solve this problem and kind of come back to that baseline, but also finding a way to look at it from a positive perspective is like, all right, there's a bottleneck here, but I know that on the other end of this bottleneck is a substantial amount of growth. And so it's working towards that, especially on the business side, is working towards that. It's like, I don't want to solve this problem. Like, this sucks. I don't want to do this. But it's like, I know that on the other side, something great is going to happen. I don't know what that looks like sometimes, but it's being able to have that longer term vision or longer term um, just mindset of there's growth on the other side of this, whether it's a business challenge, whether it's a creative challenge, or pushing, feeling uninspired, or what a lot of people, say burnout, is like on the other side of this negative, this tough place that I'm in, there is a substantial reward or amount of growth on the other side. And so that's kind of been the frame that's helped me kind of push through no matter what those are. And I'll admit, like, I enjoy solving the creative challenges more because that's kind of the way my mind works. Um, but business is full of challenges, and that you're not gonna anyone who says it's easy is lying. So that's kind of where just that frame of being able to solve it and know that there's something better on the other side.
Yeah, I found, I mean, I've been doing creative work since I was probably your age, 15-ish, probably my first professional video edit I think I did. Over time, like I would say that my day-to-day work now as a 37-year-old is has very little creative work involved. I'm sometimes there's branding work, or there's definitely a lot of work on like product development and things like that, but not like it is when you're shooting video. Like you're making a decision in the moment, you're framing a shot up, and you have this instant reward. And then even editing, you're going to be editing it that night or the next day or two. Like your project is done, you have this creative fulfillment in just a couple of days. Um, and the more I've been in business, I've learned a different kind of value in the creativity in like business strategy. And I don't know, I've come to appreciate it at a different level. Like it's also very creatively fulfilling, but it's not the same thing. You don't have that same kind of instant reward, but I think that's part of what makes it valuable. Like there's this delayed gratification to making a business decision, whether it's going and making a pitch, to a brokerage, or investing in Instagram marketing and things like that. You start to see that pay out over time, and it's this different kind of fulfillment. And it's usually not like a one-off payment. Like you don't. Sometimes it is like I made this investment and then I get this payment. I think it's usually like this trickle effect. All of a sudden you realize like we have a business, and like we have regular steady income. I don't know. I feel like the longer I've been going at it, the more the business side has been kind of a trade-off. I still do really miss the creative, like you're solving a problem right there in the moment. And uh, that is very gratifying.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Is the creative side, you definitely get that more instant gratification, sometimes more than others, but the business side is more of that. It is, I've found that as I've kind of been more serious about growing my business over the past couple of years, I have been enjoying the business side more, the strategy, the building, putting the puzzle together, and then not seeing the final photo until, months later. And so yeah, there's that balance. I definitely enjoy the creative side more because you do get that. It's you can kind of see it as it's happening. With the business side, sometimes you do all these things, you put all the pieces in place, and then you just have to wait and you don't see it happening. But the wheels are turning a little bit, and then they spin more and more and more, and then all of a sudden it kind of just happens, and you're like, whoa, this I this is the result of the things that I did months ago, years ago, all these things. And that's it's a cool thing to see as that grows. You can kind of track your progress backwards a little bit.
I think you got the right mentality. What you're talking about growth earlier, like the biggest thing you're always going to carry forward in your business are the ways that you grow as a leader and a business owner. It's just dividends of leveling up yourself and your mindset and how you think about things. And I think you're already reaping some early rewards of that compared to most entrepreneurs that have coached or experienced. Like you're way ahead of the curve in terms of focusing in on value and growth and mindset. So, all right, let's shift gears into like a lightning round of some fun questions here. So, tell me, what's your favorite go-to focal length when you're shooting?
Gotta love my wide angle 12 mil.
12 millimeter. All right. What do you think, Maddie?
Full sensor.
Full frame, yes, sir. It's wide and it looks incredible.
Yeah.
Wide and in charge. Yeah. All right. Tell me about the worst shooting disaster you've had. You could maybe you could level it up into how you fixed it, but just what's been the most colossally wrong thing that's happened to you on site?
Grateful to say that there haven't been any like total disasters, but I've pulled up to shoots and found out my batteries weren't charged. I had like 20% on the camera, or the gimbal was at like 10%. Or just like the house wasn't, well, actually there was one where the homeowners were there and they were just not expecting us, and the house was a disaster, and so it took a whole hour to clean up before we could even shoot, and it was like, this is not, just have to make it work and push through. But yeah, that those would be like a few of the things that I'm like, cringe when you think about them.
That the day you started the Haven Cleaning Company?
Right.
Honestly, I got a whole nother piece to my business right there.
Yeah.
We've talked about it. Like you could definitely have like a cleanup company that your photo business like fed. Yeah.
That'd be interesting. Interesting little venture there.
How about your dream luxury listing or your dream builder to shoot for?
I would love to shoot a luxury listing like on a cliff, like some sort of like big villa in like, I don't know, Hawaii or Greece, or some of those like coastal locations that have big cliffs. So you overlook the ocean, you got beautiful views, you're kind of in the lush greenery and all that kind of stuff. Like I feel like a property like that would just be super inspiring, and so many creative shot ideas. I feel like a property out kind of separated in the middle of nowhere kind of thing, remote location or scenic location, that's the dream.
Just got to watch out for those flocks of seagulls.
Yeah, could be dicey. And on the same vein, a lot of people we've talked to don't shoot for builders. So, is there anything different or any takeaways that you would give to somebody listening who's like, huh, I've never thought about that. I want to go after some builders?
I love shooting with builders because typically they also have a greater passion for the property. Not all, like some realtors are very passionate, but they've put their hard work into creating this piece, and so they have a lot more kind of pride in their product, and a lot of times I've found that translates into actually more creative freedom. For me, is they're like, we see there's a more um, tangible connection there. We both are creating something that we're passionate about, and so they're like, we've done our part. We trust that you're going to bring your passion into this. And it's a different style I found, less of the trendy, like super fast speed ramps, all that kind of stuff. It's more of like a, we want this to shine because it's like, we're proud of this. We want this on a pedestal. And so if you can create a video that emulates that, it's a little bit more, sometimes more cinematic, which is the stuff that I love, creating more cinematic style videos. I would say, yeah, it unlocks more creative freedom. I found a lot of more inspiration from properties or projects like that. Um, I would highly suggest working with builders.
Some
They got deeper pockets
advice.
too.
That's always nice, right? Some
Yeah.
deep pockets. What advice would you give somebody never shot with a builder? They want to approach some builders. What should they lead with? Like, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, I think understanding that they have different goals. A lot of the times, maybe they're not trying to sell the property per se. They're trying to get people to want to see this project and work with them because they're like, oh, wow, that's a really great house. It's a beautiful house. I want something similar. And so it's understanding that they typically have a different goal, and being able to kind of lean into that and when you're talking to them is, we're using language that kind of speaks more to their kind of frequency of, you know, passion, higher quality, high quality product, as well as just showcasing and leaning into like, we're gonna make this property shine. We want to make it shine. We want people to see the craftsmanship, the details, and so all these things, that understanding just that it's a different it's a different approach, and builders at the end of the day want to feel like you understand them, because they put a lot of passion into the design. They put a lot of passion into the details, maybe the countertops or the flooring or whatever. And so it's being able to pick those things out and talking to them so that they feel heard and like, oh, this person understands us. This person understands the amount of effort and work and passion that we put into this project versus someone who's maybe just used to shooting listings is, oh, hey, we're going to make a really cool video to market this house. And we're gonna show all the main rooms and all this stuff. And for builders, it's less of like the attention in terms of like eyeballs and like crazy stuff, and it's more of like we just want people to know what we're about. And so it's being the craftsmanship and just being able to focus on that and making them feel like you understand them.
Cool. Well, thanks so much, James. This was awesome. Oh, I got ahead of myself. One more.
One action that you think a listener, a real estate media pro listening to this should take to level up their next shoot or their business?
I would say build your brand. Figure out what is your brand. And when you walk into a room, and maybe it's a virtual room, or when someone walks into your social media page, what do they see? And what do you want to be known for? And a lot of times that comes with, when you rock up to a shoot, it's figuring out how to be creative. But ultimately, it's if someone wants to level up their real estate media business from the creative aspect, I would say brand is the most important. And so creating just pieces of content that you feel that resonate with you and you want to be associated with, and being able to showcase to people that's like you can do the thing that you want them to do as well. And I feel like that will go very far in how people kind of approach you and see you.
How about where people should follow you if they want to kind of follow your journey and learn from you?
If you wanna follow me, the best place would probably be Instagram, at the James Bottomley. If you want to go see my viral videos, you can head over to TikTok, Haven Creatives. Probably won't see much of me there, but it's there anyways. And then also on YouTube, just my name, James Bottomley. Those are kind of the platforms that I'm on.
Well, thanks for sharing with us.
Yeah, man, we really appreciate your time. It was a really engaging conversation.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was a great time.
Best of luck in Calgary.